Ethan Cole had everything he was told to want and nothing he actually needed. At 39, he was the name behind Cole Investments, a billion-dollar empire of glass and silence. People called him a visionary, a genius, a man who turned numbers into gold. But on Christmas Eve, the building was empty except for the echo of his shoes and the low hum of the lights. His reflection stared back at him from the lobby glass, tailored suit, perfect posture, and eyes that looked like they belonged to someone twice his age. He told himself he'd stay late to finish reports, but the truth was simple. There was no one waiting at home. Outside, the city glittered under a sheet of snow. Families hurried through the streets with bags and laughter, warmth following them like a shadow. Ethan tightened his scarf and walked toward his car, the sound of his own footsteps too loud in his ears. He could have kept walking. He almost did. But then he saw her, sitting in the doorway of a closed bookstore, wrapped in a thin gray coat that barely reached her knees. She was trying to light a small candle against the wind, her hands trembling so much the flame kept dying. She looked up when he stopped. Her eyes were startling, green like spring seen through glass. "I'm fine," she said quickly, her voice hoarse from cold. "You're not," Ethan replied, kneeling down. "You'll freeze out here." "I've been colder," she said, trying to smile. "Please, just go." "When did you last eat?" "Yesterday, maybe the day before." She shrugged. "I'm not your problem." Ethan hesitated, then said softly, "Maybe I need a problem." Her name was Anna. The diner they found was almost empty. The waitress too tired to care that a man in a $1,000 coat had brought in a woman who looked like she'd walked out of a storm. Over soup and coffee, Anna told him pieces of her story. She'd been a teacher once. A car accident had taken her fiancé 2 years ago, and the grief had hollowed her life. She lost her job after too many days staring out classroom windows, lost her apartment after missing rent, and by the time she tried to fix it, everything had already fallen apart. "People think it happens overnight," she said, stirring her coffee. "It doesn't. It's slow. One missed paycheck, one sleepless night, one more person who stops calling." Ethan listened, and for the first time in years he wasn't thinking about markets or mergers. "You sound like someone who kept trying," he said. "That's not failure. That's survival." "Survival isn't living," she replied. "It's just not dying." The words hit something in him. For all his money and reputation, wasn't he doing the same thing? Existing instead of living. When she said she'd go to a shelter, Ethan looked out at the snow and imagined her walking into the night alone. "Come with me," he said before he could stop himself. "I have a spare room. You'll be safe. Just for tonight." Anna froze. "You don't know me." "Maybe I should," he said quietly. He expected her to refuse. Instead, after a long silence, she whispered, "One night." His penthouse was the kind of place people envied until they saw how empty it felt. Floor-to-ceiling windows, art on the walls, and not a single sign of a human life. "It's beautiful," Anna said softly. "It's cold," Ethan answered. He showed her the guest room, left towels and clothes outside the door. When she came out an hour later, wearing his sweatshirt, her hair clean and damp, she looked like someone who'd been thawed back to life. "I forgot what warmth felt like," she said. "Then don't forget again," he replied. They ate takeout by the window while the city lights flickered below. She told him about the little things she missed. The sound of kids laughing in the hallways, the smell of books, her fiancé's terrible cooking. Ethan told her about the noise of boardrooms, the silence of success, and the feeling of coming home to nothing. "Maybe," Anna said. "We both got lost in different directions." When she stood to leave at dawn, he stopped her. "Stay. Rest. One night won't fix you, but maybe it starts something." She stayed. One night turned into a week. Ethan helped her replace her ID, get medical care, and find small jobs at a local library. She helped him remember how to breathe between meetings. Every morning, she made coffee strong enough to wake the dead. Every evening, they talked. She teased him for never cooking. He teased her for reading books faster than he could buy them. The silence that used to fill his home became something alive. But not everything was easy. The board questioned his distraction. The tabloids published pictures of them together. Billionaires' Christmas charity. He offered to handle it. She refused. "I won't be your secret," she said quietly. "I don't want pity dressed up as affection." "That's not what this is," he said. "Then prove it." The next day, he walked into a board meeting full of investors and said, "We're funding a new branch of the Hale Foundation for education, housing, and recovery." Her name's on it, not mine. When they told him it was bad optics, he replied, then maybe the optics need fixing. Anna heard about it from the news, tears running down her face as she watched him defend something that wasn't profit. That night she cooked dinner for him for the first time. They ate in quiet, the kind that feels like peace, and afterward he said, "You changed everything." "You just started seeing again," she said. Months passed. The foundation grew. Anna became its director, using her teaching skills to run programs for people who'd lost their footing. Ethan spent less time in his office and more time where she was. Schools, shelters, meetings where nobody cared about his title. For the first time, he felt human. That next Christmas, she decorated his apartment with lights and a crooked little tree. "You bought a tree?" he asked, laughing. "I rescued it," she said. "It was half price because it leans." "So do I," he replied. They watched the snow fall, sitting close enough that silence didn't feel lonely. "Remember what you said that first night?" she asked. "You said, just one night." "And you said, one night," he murmured. "We lied to each other." "Best lie I ever told," she said, and he kissed her then, gentle and certain. A year later, Ethan Cole married the woman who'd been invisible to the world and unforgettable to him. The newspapers called it a miracle story, the billionaire and the homeless woman. They didn't understand that it wasn't charity. It was two people finding home in each other's broken places. At the wedding, Anna read vows written on notebook paper. "You stopped when no one else did. You saw me when I didn't want to be seen. You gave me back my name, my voice, my life, and in return, I'll spend the rest of mine reminding you that success is only real when it's shared." Ethan's hand shook as he spoke his own. "You didn't just walk into my life. You walked me out of the cage I built. You made me remember what love sounds like. You saved me from a future full of empty rooms." When they danced, it wasn't graceful or choreographed. It was messy, human, and perfect. The following Christmas Eve, they visited the foundation together. Children laughed in the halls. Volunteers carried boxes of food. The air smelled of cinnamon and hope. Anna knelt beside a little boy drawing on a paper plate. "What's that?" she asked. "It's a house," he said proudly, "with lights and cookies and people who don't go away." She smiled. "That's the best kind." Ethan watched her, and something inside him settled. Later, as they walked home through falling snow, Anna slipped her hand into his. "You think this will last?" she asked. "If we keep stopping for the people everyone walks past," he said, "I think it will." The city glowed around them, alive and endless, and for the first time in years, Ethan didn't feel like an outsider looking in. He'd spent half his life chasing numbers, mistaking achievement for meaning. It took one woman in a doorway and one night of courage to teach him that the real currency of life is connection, the quiet kind that asks for nothing and gives everything. When they reached their building, Anna looked up at the penthouse windows shining above the snow. "You know," she said, "you finally made this place a home." "No," he answered, wrapping an arm around her. "You did." Inside, lights flickered softly against the glass, their reflections dancing across the walls. Outside, the world went on, busy, bright, and unaware that somewhere above the city, two people who had once been strangers were living proof that even the coldest nights can end in warmth, because sometimes salvation doesn't come in miracles or wealth. Sometimes it's just one man who stops walking, one woman who says yes, and one night that lasts forever.